with the Lakers. I am Trevor Lane, handheld edition of Lunchtime with the Lakers here because I am traveling. I'm in South Carolina right now, visiting some family. So wanted to check in real quick and chat a bit about Dalton Knecht and Bronny James, two guys who are, well, maybe on slightly different paths, but both guys starting to really pick it up in Summer League for the Lakers and providing some things to be really excited about. I know this Lakers offseason so far, it hasn't provided, well, very much excitement at all. But Dalton Knecht getting him at 17 overall when he was mocked to go 6th in a lot of mock drafts, that was a great, great find for the Lakers. They were blown away that he fell to them. And now we're starting to really see why they were so excited to get this guy, why he was projected to go where he was projected to go heading into the draft. He has been absolutely fantastic, averaging over 21 points per game in Las Vegas while shooting 39% from deep, chipping in 5.3 rebounds as well. So Dalton Knecht is really starting to pick it up. And I think what we're seeing from him is a bit more stability. He's really getting his legs under him in Summer League. I think the first Summer League outing of him from him in the California Classic, he was still trying to find his way. He was getting used to Summer League ball. Now you can see things are really starting to click at this point with Dalton Knecht. So there's a connection being made. I'm going to love making Dalton Knecht puns all season. But like I said, he's scoring the basketball. He's looked fantastic doing that. And the Lakers are starting to win games. Now, they won a game without him. They won a game with him. But he was critical down the stretch in what was the last night's game against the Cavs, because he's able to not only score, not only hit shots coming off of curls and score from all three levels. He can get to the rim and score. We've seen some thunder dunks from him. We can see him hitting from the mid-range. He can also knock down the threes, again, hitting 39% there. But I think the other thing to keep in mind is he's really good at getting to the free throw line. And so that late in games has mattered, and mattered in last night's game as well. So, of course, the big picture question is going to be, what does this mean for the Lakers season? Is Dalton Knecht part of the rotation? Well, I think he probably is, frankly, because they don't have enough depth. You look at this roster, I don't think Bronny is regular season playable right now. And that's not a knock on Bronny. I wouldn't expect him to be regular season playable right now. I'm expecting him to spend most of his time in the G League. I don't know what they're going to get out of Jalen Hood-Schifino, if anything. He's still dealing with injury. This was going to be a big summer league from him, and he's not been able to play. Max Lewis, I don't think he's regular season ready. So you've got, and then Cam Reddish, maybe, but he's more situational. Jackson Hayes and Christian Wood, one of them might be playable, but they're not really guys you're going to play much together, and they play the same position. So that's an issue too. So when you look at this team's depth, it's not what it was last season when you had Taurean Prince and Spencer Dinwiddie on the squad. So I do think Dalton Knecht is probably going to be part of the regular rotation. I'm not expecting. There's people out there saying, oh, he needs to start. No, that's crazy. That's crazy. We're talking about a rookie. Yes, he's 23 years old, but you're not going to slot him right in the starting lineup. But I wouldn't even make him the 6th man or anything like that. But could he be like the 8th guy in the rotation? Maybe the 9th guy, something like that, out of necessity. Because again, this Lakers team doesn't have great depth. But if that's going to be the case, I think what we're seeing in Summer League right now should give you some optimism that he can pull it off, that he can do it, that he can make that happen. So I like what we're seeing from Dalton Knecht a lot right now. While Summer League doesn't always translate over to regular season play, I think what we're seeing currently, how quickly he's adapted to the Summer League style of play, I think that's a good sign for what he can do at the NBA level, and gives a little bit more confidence that he can be part of the rotation moving forward. Chief said Max Christie or Knecht. Why not both? Honestly, look, I think it's going to have to be both. I think both guys are going to have to play for the Lakers this season. You're going to need both guys to be in the mix, given how shallow this team's depth is right now. And Max Christie, look, they paid Max Christie. They paid this guy to be part of the rotation. The amount of money they gave him says he's going to be part of the rotation. But I think both guys are going to need to be in there, particularly if Jared Vanderbilt has any lingering issues with his foot injury, which it was concerning when JJ mentioned it in that interview that he had a couple of weeks ago, that Jared Vanderbilt still has to do rehab this summer. Rehab? It was 2 months ago, more than that he was supposed to be ready to play in the playoffs. And now he's still doing rehab on his foot? That worries me. Because there goes some of your wing depth, is somehow Jared Vanderbilt isn't ready to go on opening night. And look, I'm not saying that's the case. We don't know. Not saying that's the case, but not great that he's still working on rehab this summer. So if Jared Vanderbilt's not able to go, I think that you're going to see the Taurean Prince minutes get ceded to Dalton Knecht. Now, maybe Max Christie to a degree as well can eat up some of those minutes playing on the wing, but Max is more of a 2 than a 3, and the advanced metrics all bear that out, that he's got a lot more success playing the 2 than when he plays the 3. I think Knecht can play the 3 a bit, particularly with his foot speed concerns. He does get blown by defensively, and so that's an issue, but he may have to be part of the rotation, and I don't think it's an either-or situation with Dalton Knecht and Max Christie. I think you're probably going to need both of them, and that's some reliance on a couple of guys that are still very young. I mean, look, Max is actually a couple years younger than Dalton Knecht. Like, think about that. Max has been on the team for 2 years, and he's still 2 years younger than Dalton Knecht is. So you're going to have to rely on those two guys, two young players, to be part of your rotation, but that's just the reality of this Lakers roster, and that may not be a bad thing. I think part of the reason why Darvin is not the head coach anymore, Darvin Ham's not the head coach anymore, is because he didn't use Max Christie when he needed to and the way that he needed to. So Dalton Knecht coming in and being part of this, I think, is not going to take away minutes from Max Christie. It's not an either or. I think both guys are going to have to be part of it. Let's see what else we've got here. Knecht is a cone on defense. Look, Knecht, he needs to get better defensively. He does need to get better defensively for sure. Mustafa said, Trevor, I feel you don't like Bronny. Oh no, I like Bronny just fine. What would it take to like Bronny? What would I need to say to like Bronny? Because I said he's probably not going to play a lot of minutes with the team? I don't want expectations to be super high on him. The 55th pick, regardless of who it is almost always going to spend most of their time in the G League. That's just the way that it goes. And that should be the expectation going in. Most guys are not going to be Austin Reeves, where they get the opportunity to come out and be part of the rotation almost immediately. And even Austin, it took a while for his first regular season. Most guys are going to take time. And so I don't want expectations to be crazy high for Bronny, that he's going to step in and play right away or something like that. No, I think that Bronny's going to need time to develop, and it's important to give him that grace, give him that opportunity to develop into the kind of player that he'll ultimately be. And I think the fact that we've seen some shots starting to drop in Summer League is a great sign. He was the only Laker to block shots. Last game he had 2 blocks, the only Laker to block a shot. He's doing some good things out there. Now look, people freaked out when he wasn't scoring. It's the defensive side of the ball that is going to be the most important side for him. Yes, he's got to be able to contribute on the offensive end, but it's defense. That's where he's really going to make his mark in this league, if he's able to sustain that. If he's able to get to the NBA level and stay there, it's going to be because of what he does defensively. And then can he knock down some open shots every now and then, sometimes maybe be a secondary creator. That's the path for Bronny. It's to be a Gary Payton II type player. And if he can get there, that's a great find with the 55th pick. So I don't dislike Bronny at all. I'm rooting for the kid. I want to see Bronny be successful. I just don't think we should put expectations on him that are too high at this point. Bronny will get exposed in the NBA, Jay Blue says. So will every player that's taken late in the second round, right? If you threw any guy into the deep water of the NBA right now, it's probably not going to go well. So I'm good with Bronny as is. Look, just give him time in the G League. Let him play with the South Bay Lakers. Let him figure it out and let him develop. Let him grow as a player. I think there is something there. There's real NBA talent there. But if you're expecting too much out of him, well, you're setting yourself up for disappointment if you do that. Is Castleton a viable option at center? You know, I think the questions that we had about Colin Castleton coming in, we were concerned about Castleton's ability to be physical in the paint and not get bullied, not get bumped off the ball, that type of thing. And I don't know that those concerns have necessarily been answered here so far in Summer League. That said, he's had some good moments. We've seen the passing. He's showcased the ability to shoot the 3 a little bit. So he's still shown some good things. Is he the type of guy right now, is he good enough at this moment where you say this guy is so good that we need to clear a roster spot for him and then we're going to sign him to a full contract because we want him for every game? No, that's not what you're doing. And you don't have a roster spot right now. So right now, Castleton will stay on a 2-way contract. And then we'll see. We'll see how he can develop. Again, still needs to get stronger, but there have been some really good moments from him. Moses Brown has had some moments where he's looked good as well, but you need a full roster spot to sign some of these guys. So remember, Castleton is on a two-way, Armel Traore on a two-way as well, and then Blake Hinson, who can shoot the three, he's on a two-way. So those are their two-way players. I think Castleton probably sticks on a two-way contract for now. If he can show in training camp that he can stand up to NBA caliber bigs and be physical and hold his ground, maybe we revisit that discussion. But right now, I don't know that he's answered enough of the question marks about him, but I think there is something there. There's enough there to hang on to him and see what he can be. He was really good in the G League last year, and I'm hoping that eventually he can develop enough to take that step and get a full NBA roster spot specifically with the Lakers. Now, last thing I want to mention is when we see that trade that Russell Westbrook was just involved in, got sent to the Utah Jazz. And look, Russ being cut by Utah again after the Lakers traded him there and they cut him back then, it's a little bit funny. But I think the most noteworthy piece to this is you look at the price, right? Russell Westbrook had $4 million in salary. Well, guess what? The Lakers, if they need to clear a roster spot, they're going to be shedding maybe less if they try to clear 2 roster spots in order to really get some money off the books. Then we'd be talking about 2 players, right? Cam Reddish, Christian Wood, Jackson Hayes, guys like that they'd be sending out. So what was the cost for the Clippers to move a $4 million expiring contract in Russell Westbrook? Well, the cost was a second-round pick swap in, I think, 2030 and $4 million. So cash, that's what they had to trade in order to get Utah to absorb the money on the salary. So really, Utah just got paid for Russ's contract, got to negate Russ's contract with the money they had coming in from the Clippers. I think they might have netted an extra, I don't know, 100 grand, something like that. And then they get a second round pick swap. That's it, to shed $4 million. To me, that tells me if the Lakers really wanted to shed salary right now, they probably could. That's a cheap price to shed salary at this moment and maybe open up a roster spot. So that the Lakers aren't doing this right now tells you that they don't have anybody they want to spend money on to give a roster spot to, which frankly is disappointing. It's disappointing to me that they haven't done that at this point. At least add something to this roster. But for the time being, they seem to be just standing pat and waiting for the right trade to come along. But if they wanted to shed salary, you look at the price to get off of $4 million from Russell Westbrook. I know to us, cash is whatever, right? We don't care if the team has to kick in $4 million in cash in order to open up a roster spot. Maybe the team does care about that, but doesn't seem like the price to move off of a couple of contracts or a contract and free up some money, free up some flexibility is that steep. A second round pick swap? Really? Not even a second round pick, a swap? That's all it costs the Clippers to move off of Russell Westbrook? Again, Lakers still standing pat though. That's frustrating. That's frustrating from a Lakers fan perspective, and I just hope that at some point we're going to look back and we're going to go, aha, that's why all of this stuff that didn't make sense suddenly makes sense. It's because they were waiting to do this, and hopefully